And then I'm going to share my screen and go over just a few things. Okay. Okay, so I wanted to get started by just going back to our class homepage. Now I can see many of you, but do you guys remember the last time we had Zoom, which was a week ago on Monday? In the middle of class, Canvas went down, but we were able to kind of keep going. Do you guys kind of remember that? Like it just wouldn't connect, I couldn't refresh. So I didn't realize until, I think it was probably Saturday or Sunday night, but as we were going through the discussion, do you guys remember I'd say like, hold up a ruler or your whatever, and I would give you guys points. So none of that got recorded. And so many of you were in the conversation. You probably heard me say, let me see your supplies, and I marked you off, but you don't have points for them. And I can see in Canvas, I think it's about 4 students down, it stopped recording all of the grades. So I'm just going to go through and take a look at the attendance from that day and then give everybody credit again. But then on that note as well, discussions didn't get posted, as well as one of our assignments. And so basically that day was a total wash. So luckily we have the recording from that day. So if you missed, I had a couple people reach out to me about the assignment and they were wondering what we did. And so I'm going to show you guys where you can find the Zoom recordings. I was able to find it and I want to make sure that you guys can see it as well. So I'm going to take you guys through that. But on our homepage, if you click on Zoom, you should be able to go to cloud recordings. And I think it's silly that it makes you select a date, but I'm basically going to go back all the way to the first to today. And am I looking at the right dates? Yes. So I know that I saw earlier, I think I sent it to someone, but I don't remember who. But we do have cloud recordings and I'm wondering, I'm going to leave student view to see if it's something that's just available to me. And then I will either change the settings so that everybody can view our recordings, or I'll just share them to you or share them with you on Canvas. Okay, now I feel really crazy. I'm trying to see. Ethan, did I by chance send it to you, the cloud recording? I know some of them here.
Yeah, I looked at you sent it to me individually, but I was also going to say like, yeah, I tried to look to see if there was a meeting for today under that section, but it didn't show up, just like how you are doing it right now. So I wonder if it is something with the student view.
I'm not, so this kind of goes with the whole disconnection that happened this morning. Sorry, Ethan, let's start with that first question. Did the Zoom recording I sent you work? Were you able to see that?
I believe that's what I'm using right now.
Oh, wait, so let me back up a little bit. I thought I sent somebody the actual Zoom recording. So hang on just one sec.
Oh, I know what you're talking about now. Yes. Hold on. Let me make sure it's the right one.
Okay, just one sec.
Yeah, you sent me the recording.
I did?
Yes.
Okay, here we go. Yes, so it exists. It's right here. And I do have a passcode for it. So there's been a little bit of weirdness with the school because they got rid of the Bruin mail. And so there's just some things that aren't aligning. Like, for example, this is going to be really weird, but let me see. When I go to my account, just so you guys can see, under meetings, I see that I have set this architecture 2610. Do you guys see how it's like a reoccurring meeting? So I have it set every week so that if somebody's sick, I can just, throw on my laptop and you guys can still be part of class, even when we're in class. So, and this is my SLCC account. But as you guys see, when I actually come to our course homepage, there is a little bit of a disconnect. So on that note, I'm sorry that it's not working out the way that it should be. I actually love Zoom, and I was really happy when we got rid of WebEx, but now I'm like, oh man, I missed there a couple things about WebEx. So with that, let me do this. I'm going to take this recording from Wednesday, and I will either send it to everybody, or I might actually just make a discussion so I can keep adding to them so you guys don't get a new email every week. Is that okay if I do it that way so you guys don't get message numb from me? Okay, great. So while we're here, I'm going to go ahead and let me actually put this on the announcement. So in our announcements, I have the Zoom link, and that will hopefully always be my Zoom link. And I will just put the recordings here underneath. Oh, actually, that was Monday. Sorry. Okay, I'm just going to drop this in here for now. And then I will add all of the other details later. All right, so just make sure if you ever want to see cloud recordings, come to the announcements that have our Zoom links. And then in the meantime, what I'll do, I will reach out to Canvas support to see what we can do, because right now I should be connected to this account, but we can't see our cloud recordings or personal meeting rooms, which isn't very helpful. So I'll see, there's no point in me having it in the dashboard if it leads to nowhere. So I'll let you know before next class if we're going to use the Zoom dashboard or if we're going to use the announcements. Does that sound good? Okay, so Ethan, I'm sorry, you and who was the other person?
It was Natalie.
Natalie. Hi, Natalie.
Yeah. Hi. I was there for the vote. I don't know what's wrong with me. I totally forgot.
But here's the thing, like Natalie, I don't know if you heard this. When Canvas went down on Monday, it really took everything down with it.
Yeah.
Are you guys okay if I show grades real quick?
Yeah. I don't care.
Hey, you guys, I don't know if you can see each other, but I just wanted to show you. So again, I already went through this, but when we were in class, I would ask everybody like, hey, put up your notebook, do this, do that. And you can see that after 2 students, it stopped. So despite all of you guys putting up your stuff and me awkwardly being like, okay, I didn't realize it went down because I hadn't refreshed a page yet. I stayed on the grading page, and then I don't remember what I was trying to show to you guys when it just completely went down. So while you guys are working later in class, I'm going to go through and make sure to get this done so you guys will get credit. All right. Okay. I swear, like, school is haunted, guys. It's like everything we do, like this little ghost comes in. It's like, I'm going to ruin this, but we're going to keep going. So on that note, will we be on campus next week? So next week is let me get my calendar out. I don't even know. Next week is January 24th and 26th. We'll be on campus yet? Not yet. So the soonest we would be back is January 31st. And I am just looking at those COVID numbers and waiting for them to burst and then come back down. This morning wasn't great, or yesterday wasn't great. So, but it also was a holiday. So earliest we would be back is the 31st.
Hey, Naima, I have a question.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's Natalie. So I don't have my stuff with me because I just was like, I don't know what we're doing today. So should I can go home right now where all of my stuff is if we're going to be doing workshop stuff today?
I would say yes. Eventually I will say go home, but do you mind hanging out for just a minute? So I said that
Yeah, totally.
Intros today. I'd love to officially do intros since we're going to be online for a minute. So let's meet each other online. And I also had a couple more announcements as well. So we talked about the web grades not being there. We talked about the Zoom crash. And then we also talked about Zoom. So a lot of those things are like, I'm working on it. Give me a minute. So sorry, there's nothing solid on those yet, but I know that those are issues. So I'm going to have kind of a weird introduction, but one of the things that I wanted to talk about very first, right out the gate, is kind of course expectations and what it means to be an architect. So as an introduction for myself, hi everybody, my name is Naima. I'm an architect. And actually, no, I can't legally say that I'm an architect. I'm an architectural designer. I have 2 more exams left, and this is so scary. I have until July 11th to get them done. And so I'm like, okay, I can take them March 6th. And then if I fail, I have 3 months after that. And then I can take them May 12th. And if I fail, I can take them one more time. So just to let you guys know, I have been taking my licensing exams for, I think, 7 years now. I don't like giving people advice, but my advice to you would be to do your licensing exams as soon as possible. On the first day of class, I had asked everybody who was planning on going to the University of Utah. And I think all but like 1 or 2 people raised their hands. But if you don't mind me asking again, how many of you are planning on pursuing a master's degree in architecture? I'm really curious. Okay. There's a couple iffy people. Okay, don't let me scare you off today. This is totally like right here. This is my master's degree, so proudly hung. This is mine, and this is my husband's. So I am very proud of it, and I haven't given up. And I can't tell you, my poor mother is like, why are you still doing this? What is the point? It's because I love it. But my advice to you would be to do your exams as soon as possible. When I was in my 20s, right after school, I started working at a firm that was one of the best experiences of my life. I loved it so much. And unfortunately, around 2008, 2009, because of the recession, it kind of went under. I still worked there, but I worked there hourly. And then I had a baby. But during that time, while I was at that firm, they were kind of punk rock. They didn't really care about licensing. So while I was there, it didn't matter if I had a license or if I was doing an exam. They still let me be a project architect and a project manager. And they were even putting partner and principal on the table, which was wonderful, right? And so I was doing everything an architect would do, but I didn't have my license. And then after the recession, I was like, I have nothing to do. I'm going to start studying. And so I started studying, and I did a few of my exams. And then I had kids. And then all of a sudden, the licensing board was like, hey, you did a lot of these exams many years ago, and they're about to expire. And so the way that it works now, unfortunately, you have 5 exams. And you can take them even not while you're in school, but while you're in working. So I'm old enough to where when I started, I actually had to do a 3-year internship before I could start doing my exams. So that took a long time. But now I would say as soon as you're eligible, just hop in and start taking them. And my problem is that because I started so long ago, one of my first exams is old enough that it's about to expire. And so that one exam in the old system is part of 3 other exams now. And I hate saying this out loud. It turns my stomach into knots. So essentially, if I don't pass these last 2 tests, I have to take all 5 over again. So I'll just wait for you guys to graduate. We'll do it together. But I'm really trying. Like, I'm looking at my pile of books, and essentially, just like school, just like everything else in life, there's never a good time, ever. Like in my 20s, is like, I love my job. I'm so busy, whatever. And I want to go back and slap 20-year-old Naima and be like, open those books and study. It's going to be so much harder. So get it done. I can't even tell you the thousands of dollars I've spent. I spend $240 a month on this video exam thing that I love to watch. She's wonderful. They're called the Amber books. I have all of my books that I actually used in school, and you might have some of them now. I'm looking at the pile. So any book that you guys get, especially the U, hold on to it. Like the mechanical and electrical book that you guys get, It's the same one I used while I was in school. There are diagrams in that book that are on the test. So just wanted to let you know that's kind of where I'm coming from. So I'm almost an architect, and study as soon as you can. Speaking of almost architecture, I also wanted to share another little tidbit for you. I promise I'm really good at what I do. Don't think that I'm like totally lame, like, oh gosh, she's our teacher, she can't even pass the exams. But architecture is sometimes a hard place to be. And to be completely honest, I came into architecture after I was kind of a math nerd. I loved art, but I never took art classes. And I think part of it is because, I don't know if this is part of it, but it might be. So I'm a first generation American, and my parents, they weren't really creative people. So it was just kind of like, take math classes, be an engineer. My dad's an engineer. And that's kind of what I did. And then within 2 weeks of being in the engineering program up at the U, I was like, these are not my people. I have no idea where I am. And so I switched over to business. And if you've been to the University of Utah campus, the business building is just east of the architecture building. Like, they're right across from each other. And I was in my second semester doing business. I loved it. But I looked at the architecture building and I was like, I really want to be in there. Like, what are those kids doing? I think that would be really fun. When I was in like first grade, they did this like school program where you had to like go up to a microphone and tell the parents what you wanted to be. And I was like, I want to be an engineer or a cartoonist. So to me, like, the worlds of like engineering and cartooning come together in architecture. I don't know how, but essentially that started my road into architecture, and I sucked at it. Like, I was in the honors program at the U. I had been a 4.0 student all my life. And then I barely passed my first semester of architecture because I had no idea what design was. My workshop classes, oh my gosh, those are the worst. They would grade you out of 5, like 5 points was like your highest grade. And I think the highest grade I got was like a 2.7 because I just didn't understand design. I understood craft. I understood how to turn stuff in on time. But it was hard for me to go from like this world of math where like 1 + 1 = 2 and it's always 2, to all of the sudden, nobody knows the answer. Nobody's going to tell you the answer. And whatever answer you give, it's probably wrong. And so because I was so desperate to get it right, my teachers were kind of like, oh no. And I feel like I was like punished for not knowing how to talk and think like a designer. And the most embarrassing thing for me, you guys, so I mentioned my dad was an engineer, right? So I worked at his electrical firm and I knew a lot of architects. So some of these guys are like my dad's buddies from forever, and they're in crits now and they get to see how bad Nawabi's daughter sucks. So anyway, it was a really bad, really, really horrible experience. In fact, I always share my trials with my students because I feel like it's important to know that it's okay to fail. So I applied for the master's program despite being miserable, and I didn't even get on the wait list. They were like, thanks, but no thanks. And I was really sad, but I got this amazing job. I had an amazing mentor, and I was so relieved to find out that architecture in school doesn't have to be anything like architecture the business. And I was good at practicing architecture. I was a crappy student, but I learned how to become a better student through being in the practice. And this is like my crowning moment. It's the only time I get to show this off. It has done nothing for me since, but I went back, I got my master's, I was finally accepted, and I got the design award my thesis year. So thank you. Thank you. So once again, if there is hope for me, I failed again. I'm still failing, but I'm still here. So if there is hope for me, there's absolutely hope for you. And honestly, I love, 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 love what I do. I love teaching. I love practicing. I don't love the exams, but honestly, I would love the exams if I had time. I just don't. I don't have time. My kids are homeschooling today, so I'm sure they're going to run back and forth here. So there will never, ever, ever be a good time. You will never have enough money. So just do it now if it's important to you. Now, with that, let me also say, this might not be the best thing to say, but my mom is kind of right. I could walk away from my exams and still do everything I want to do, except stamping my drawings. But even with that, I have paid people in the past to stamp my drawings. So with your education, even without going to the U, you can do residential design and you can do commercial up to 3,000 square feet. And that was like my bread and butter. So after the recession, I basically found all the contractors that did the strip malls when I was practicing, and we just churned out all that stuff. And so it's architecture is a big table and it just keeps expanding. So there's room for everybody at that table. And I'm just one of those people who likes to cross things off. Like I got this little piece of paper and I can't wait to get the other one. So one day I will have one more frame up there and hopefully it's this semester. You guys, I hope it's this semester. I hope. We'll see. If not, we're doing it together. Whenever you guys are ready, we're doing it together. So that's me. That's kind of where I'm coming from. I take architecture very, very seriously. I do, but I feel like overall, it's very intense. We work a ton and you can get unhealthy very quickly, even in school. And so even starting now, I like to start good habits, right? Just taking care of yourself, making sure you're finding balance and priority, which is really hard to do. So this is where I am. And I always hope that you guys feel like I'm approachable and that you can talk to me so that if something's not working out in the semester, let me know. And either, we can either find something that works for you or come back, right? Like we have, I can't remember how it's coming up soon, but we have like another week before you can get all your money back in your classes. And I'm all about that money. So see how things are going so far. If you need to come back so you can get your money back, go ahead and do it. Okay. All right. Any questions so far? Sorry I blabbed on so long, but that's me. I'll never talk that much about myself. No questions? Okay. Did I scare anybody off of architecture? Yes, no. Did I scare you off? Did I give you hope? Maybe. Okay. I hope so. I hope I gave you guys hope. I really, really hope so. I survived a recession and 2 kids in online schooling and I'm still smiling. My eye might be twitching, but I am still smiling. Okay. So now I would love to get to know you guys. We have kind of a small crowd today, but before we kind of get to know each other, what I wanted to do, I made a little poll, and really where I wanted to start today is kind of humanize everybody. So really quick question. So will you guys give me a thumbs up if people look familiar in class? So right now I'm in gallery view. Okay, so I can see everybody. If you're not in gallery view, go in gallery view. Okay, good. People look familiar. Here is the other question. Of all the people you see, do you know at least 4 people's names? That's about half. Could you say 4 people's names? Good. This is great. Kind of. Ethan, that's okay. Ethan's like, no, yes, 4. Just kidding, Ethan. So I want you guys to get to know each other, get to know one another's names. It's really important because it's a small program and it's a small community. We will really work together from here until forever. Like even when you're not in architecture, it's small lake city, we're going to run into each other. So make sure to get to know some names, say hi to people. It makes a huge difference just to be acknowledged. So again, I do try to get to know your names. And it'll be so funny seeing you guys in person versus the screen. Because I'm like, oh, that person's so much taller than I thought. Oh my gosh, that person's so much shorter, right? I'm not going to have a filter on. So you can be like, who's this old lady teaching the class? Just warning you. But so before we introduce ourselves, I kind of wanted everybody to have almost like a common ground. So I'm going to launch a poll real quick. And it's only 5 questions. But in the past, I've always had students share things that they've kind of had to overcome in the class. And I find that these are the most common things people bring up. So this semester, I'm doing it a little bit differently, where rather than having you guys tell me, I'm presenting them to you to see if you can relate. So I'll give you a little bit to take a look at those questions and let me know what you think. Okay, thank you guys. So if you guys don't mind, what I'm going to do now, there's only 5 questions and there's more of you than questions, but I'm going to have you guys kind of break down the stats and help me lead the conversation. So Brayden, if you don't mind, you're the first person I see on my screen. Would you mind just reading question 1 and kind of breaking down the stats for us?
It's gone now. I don't see the questions again.
Oh, you don't see them anymore? Let's see. I'll share my screen then so you guys can see them. I don't want to share my whole screen because I've got a lot of stuff. Screen. Weird. I think because I'm in Zoom, it's not letting me. All right, guys, you're going to see my whole desktop. Please don't judge me. Okay. I'll try to hide some stuff. Okay. Do you see it now? Or is it super small?
I just see folders with desktop.
Weird. Okay, never mind. I'm going to keep talking, guys. Sorry. Why don't you guys unmute so you guys can hop in? Brayden, thank you for at least trying. The poll's still open. I don't know why I can't share it. Let me see real quick if I can just hop onto the screen. It's weird. It's not even giving me an option to share it. Let me try just a portion of the screen. So hold on. Let's see if this works. Okay, do you guys see it now?
Nope.
That is Zoom. This is so disappointing. Okay, I guess you can't share within Zoom. All right, so with that, so I asked you guys, do you struggle with procrastination? And funny enough, 0% said no. So everybody in this class struggles with procrastination, including myself. So the majority of you, 56% of you said that yes, you struggle with procrastination. And then the other 44% of you said sometimes. Okay. And again, I think it helps just to see that other people are kind of going through the same things that you're going through. So we are in good company when it comes to procrastination. So just to let you guys know, either as a group or in a breakout, I want you guys to talk about why you think you struggle with procrastination. Would you guys feel comfortable talking about it as like a larger group instead of breaking out into smaller groups? Yeah. Are you guys comfortable in a bigger group?
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So let's talk about it. What makes you guys procrastinate? And it's not because you're lazy, you know, it's not because you don't have anything to do. Who would feel comfortable sharing? And if you want to also chat me privately, let me know and I'll share for you. Natalie, I saw your hand up. Go for it.
Yeah, so I recently heard sorry, can you hear me with my mask on? I'm so sorry. This is so annoying. Okay. So I recently heard an explanation of procrastination that just was the best one I've ever heard.
Well, I'm excited.
And it's essentially an emotional regulation problem. And like, I personally really identified with that. It's avoiding any kind of emotions that you're uncomfortable with. So sometimes in the creative process for me, like I'll get frustrated or confused, or I'll feel like, oh, this isn't good enough, or like, I don't know where I'm going with this. And so those emotions being so uncomfortable, I just like want to avoid them and put them off. But of course that just makes it worse long term. And that creates more anxiety because you know that you have a deadline looming. So there's like, it kind of like compounds in on itself.
Yes, and I see so many heads nodding. So I think you struck a chord with many people. It's almost, yeah, I love that emotional regulation. You feel uncomfortable, so you're gonna like shut it down and avoid it. Do you think that, does anybody have anything else to add to that? I mostly saw nods, but do you guys have other things to add to why you think you might procrastinate? Allie, let's hear it.
So I definitely agree with Natalie. A good portion of the time I'm trying to spend as much time just like thinking about like how I can improve my project. And sometimes if I can't think anything, I was like, well, I'll think about it tomorrow. I have more time tomorrow to think, and then I can make this a better project. And then it just snowballs, and then it just,
Yeah,
it's just it never gets any better. And then of course it causes the anxiety if I'm not done with my project and it's due tomorrow and it's 1 a.m.
it's just that one step that it's like,
Yeah.
But what else do you guys have to add to that? Now I see smiles. Before it's like, oh my gosh. Now it's like, okay, Naomi, I'm gonna have you go, and then Brayden, why don't you hop on?
I am really, really bad with time management.
Okay.
Like, absolutely atrocious.
Oh man. Okay. So that's kind of beyond procrastination, right? Like, it's not that you don't want to do it. It's like, you don't even know what we're doing. Is
They
that
go
fair to
together.
say? Okay. Fair enough. So in a minute, we will talk about things that have helped people, maybe things that can help you. Just kind of like a yes or no. Do you have things that now that you've recognized it, obviously, have you been successful in finding something to help you with that? Even on a small scale?
Yeah, just like, I mean, starting stuff earlier, and like, I mean, I kind of tend to like do things in an order that sometimes doesn't really make sense.
Okay.
And so like I'll do things in this order, but when something's really big, maybe I need to break it up into smaller chunks and like work on it in these chunks instead of starting it at midnight and then like running to class last minute.
You don't know when creativity is gonna hit, so I empathize with that. I hear you. Okay. Anybody else feel that way too, where it's like, you should have started earlier, and then at midnight you're like, oh, I just got to do this. Yes, lots of nods.
Yep.
Okay. And then Brayden, did we lose you? Okay, no, it switched on me. So Brayden, and then Ethan, thanks for raising your hand. I'll come to you as well.
I guess we do have a button for that, don't we? I'd just say sometimes with, work and etc., you put things in order of importance or proximity to deadlines. And so sometimes that backfires because some projects take more effort and you can't do it, with the 2 days that you have to do it because you've been busy doing the other projects.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of my questions, I'm just going to jump ahead, but Ethan, I'll be right there. One of the questions that I asked you guys was, how many of you are a full-time college student? And I've never had this many people. 2 of you actually go to school full-time. That's amazing. I've never had, I've had one other student say that they're a full-time student, but they were an international student, so they couldn't work. That's why they're a full-time student. But the rest of you go to school and work part-time, or go to school and work part-time. So my heart goes out to you. I know that this isn't your only class. Your time is valuable. And I'm sure you're like, well, why are we talking? I think this will help, right? We're talking because in the big picture, I really do think this will help. So I wanted you guys to also recognize that you're not the only one, including myself, where this is your full-time gig. I respect that you guys have work and a life outside of this. So thanks, Brayden. Ethan, please jump on in.
All right. Well, sounds like, because I struggle with it too. It's like a lot of people struggle with what's called the future be myth, where we say, in the future, I will do this. In the future, I will do that. Like, future me has more time. I mean, the funny way of showing it is like, in the future, I'm gonna say happy birthday. Like, it's coming, happy birthday. It's gone. Like the future is now, basically. So it's kind of like having to see it like that. But
I love that.
we have to. Future me doesn't have enough time unless I make time right now.
Yeah.
So, but I struggle with that too. But the other thing I was gonna add is that it kind of takes a little bit more work, but sometimes we have to understand ourselves a little bit better. How we work with different situations. For example, I have ADD and I have super duper high alpha waves, which correspondingly function with procrastination and motivation, even, and things like that. That's just things that I've done outside of school and work to understand my brain better.
Yeah.
But it kind of helps you to know, okay, how your brain works and how you can help your brain, so that, for me, in my case, how I can lower my alpha brain waves and things like that. So sometimes it takes a little extra work to understand how we act in situations and how we are in situations to be able to function better.
I love that. Ethan, I see a very successful Instagram account for you in the future. Honestly, we need to hear your voice, because a lot of us, we talk about assignments and deadlines, but I've never heard it that way before. I've never heard about getting to know yourself and your brain and how it works and how you can help it. That's a design problem right there, right? How can we turn this into a design problem? That's wonderful. I've actually never heard the future me reference before. but I think it's perfect for two reasons. One, I told you guys, don't tell yourself that you will have time to take your tests in the future and just do them now, right? So don't wait for future me because it's going to be just as hard for them. And I was joking around with my husband the other day that I'm kind of glad that I can't go work out or go to the like gym or yoga right now as much as I want to, but I'm a little scared to with all of the cases. But I also pointed out to him that like, I'm the kind of person who doesn't go to the gym unless I'm in shape. It's like I have to get in shape first and then I'll go to the gym because I don't want to go to the gym if I don't look like I'm in shape, which makes no sense, but it totally ties into that future me. Like the future me will go to the gym once I'm in shape, but I hope you see that connection. So I have to laugh and just kind of pull that full circle from the conversation last night and this morning. So thanks, Ethan. Okay, anybody else have something to add about procrastination? What kind of slows you down?
Yeah, I have something. I have ADHD, and so I totally understood what you were saying. And also about like the thing that I've learned about myself is that if it's out of sight, it's out of mind. I do not think about it ever again.
Yeah.
Until it's like, oh crap, I forgot to do this and now it's too late. So I put everything on my Google Calendar. And like I've gotten like addicted to just checking it. Like, what am I forgetting? So like if I'm like working out, if I don't put it on there, I don't go, I forget. So I schedule things on purpose, like at a certain time. It's the only way. Like even if I need to call a friend or whatever, like I have to put it on there or I don't remember.
That's good to know. So I keep hearing from people that like, if you schedule it, you'll do it. Where in my brain, I'm like, oh, I want to do that. That's a good goal, but I don't schedule it. So I'm going to try that. And Allie is agreeing with you. She's that same way. So Allie, I'm thinking, yeah, Allie is saying that it totally helps to schedule, have it in the calendar. So thank you guys. I hope that that kind of helps. Just to sometimes I think that many of us feel like we're the only one going through what we're going to. Everybody else gets it. Everybody else knows what's going on, you know? And so again, I think just kind of bringing empathy into it, that we're all in the same boat, including your instructor, because I do struggle with procrastination. I'm also trying to figure out my brain. As designers, I think we're all kind of wired the same, where you can get obsessed with something and do it perfectly for 3 days, but you're like, where are my keys? What are keys? Do I need to eat? Like it's just weird how our brains work. And so, and then I think one of the other things that kind of ties into this, we've talked about it a little bit too. And so sometimes, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm so glad you're done. Will you go downstairs for me for a bit? I'm not done. Thank you. Sorry guys, it's just how it's gonna roll for a little bit. But we talked about procrastination and it's almost coupled with anxiety, right? Like you procrastinate and then it's like, oh my gosh. And so I feel like, again, the majority of you have struggled with it. Not yet. Go downstairs. I'm so sorry. Do you want to say hi real quick? Get it out of your system. Come say hi. Everybody, this is Aria. This is the Aria show for 5 seconds. She's in 1st grade and doing online school indefinitely. We go downstairs. Okay, bye. So what we're going to talk about here in just a minute too, is that because we know that it's like almost like a cause and then an effect, like we procrastinate and then we get anxiety. We'll talk about things that have helped us overcome procrastination, whatever it might be. And then also things that help ease anxiety, because I know that sometimes I get stuck in these like, oh crap loops, where if I just like stopped and I did something else, or if I just did that thing that would take me 5 minutes, it would go away. But I honestly could spend like 3 days getting back to an email and spend those 3 days getting sick that I haven't responded to that 1 5-minute email. So we'll talk about that. So on that note, if you guys wouldn't mind sharing, so Natalie, that was a great intro. You talked about your Google Calendar having those lists. What, if you guys wouldn't mind sharing, what helps you kind of commit to yourself? And maybe a bigger question would be, what are other obstacles, you know, in conjunction with procrastination that get in your way? For me, sometimes it's Netflix at night, you know, like there comes a certain point in the night where I still have work to do but that sofa sitting next to my husband, binging something with snacks, it lures me in. So do you have an obstacle, whether it's procrastination or whatever else, that has maybe hindered your success? And what can you do otherwise when you recognize it happening? Anyone have something for me? Allie, go ahead.
My only time to like run errands is usually like right after I get off of work. And sometimes it snowballs and I'm like, well, this store's still open. I could go do that real quick. And that's one less thing I can do tomorrow. And then all of a sudden it's like 9:30 at night and I've been running around all day and I'm tired.
Oh man. Yeah, just life in general, right? Just trying to stay on top of life. So next time you're running around, you have errands and you're like, this will help me tomorrow. Can you also think like, hey, how is this not helping me tomorrow? Do you think that might help? Okay. All right. What else do you guys have? Ricardo, was that a hand up or is that an elbow itch? Okay. He's like, no, hard pass. Is that Emily? Yeah, Emily, go ahead.
So I work like really late, and so it's hard for me to like come home and work on assignments for the next morning. So I'm always like, oh, I'll just go to sleep now and then I'll get up early and do the assignment. And that's always a lie. I can never get up early.
Oh, that's
So it's
so
like
hard.
yeah, it's like I have to stay up later. I'm not gonna do it.
What time does your shift usually end?
It ends at 11 p.m. and then my commute's 30 minutes, so I don't get home until almost midnight.
Oh, that's hard. And sometimes by then, when you're done with work, you're just not in it, right? You're just like, I don't want to do this right now. So kind of jumping on Natalie's advice, maybe it might help to just like you schedule your shifts, maybe schedule some time, whether it's like right after class, just like an hour or two here and there where it's like, this is workshop time. This is when I'm gonna do it. It might help. I don't know. Have you done something like in the past, whether it's just like one day where it was like, hey, that actually worked out really well? Have you had an experience like that helped?
Yeah, so I don't have class Fridays and I don't have work on Fridays. So
Okay.
Fridays are literally just homework days. I don't leave the house. I don't do anything but homework.
Okay, but I hope you still take the weekend off, right? Like no work on the weekends?
Yeah, I still have Saturdays and my husband doesn't work Saturdays. So
oh, good.
those are kind of for relaxing.
I'm glad you at least have that one day. All right, what else do you guys have? Like obstacles that might come up, things you do to kind of get over it? Brayden, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm stuck at home most of the day, and so I have to put something on in the background while I'm doing all my homework or work, because I work from home most of the time. And so usually they're psych, I basically have memorized, so I don't have to pay attention to it. Yeah. But I can still have it to help me, I guess, work effectively. But sometimes you get tired of the same show and you'll think that you can put something else on and usually get distracted by that instead.
Oh, that's so hard. He can't hear me, but my husband also works from home. It's just like it's a circus here, guys. And so I'll like walk by his office and I'm like, is that car show again? I'm like, is that work or car show? What's going on? But I get it. You have to have some sort of camaraderie, and sometimes that's a show. I get it. So I'm podcast guilty. So I'll either be like crying, because I'm like, this is so good, or it'll be 3 hours in. I'm like, wait, I haven't listened to this. Where should I restart? It's been on repeat. What episode did I miss? So now, are you working from home as well then?
Yeah, one of my part-time jobs is from home, and the other one is soccer refereeing, but obviously it's not happening right now, so I don't get any exercise. Right.
Who do you ref for?
I ref for the NCAA and
okay, cool.
And US soccer.
Nice.
And then of course the high school. So
okay, that's fun. We are big RSL fans here, so yeah. Okay, do you guys have, I know that, and so this is also a semester where we have COVID, which affects school, right? Like we're all online right now. It could affect your work. So if you're sick, you might not be going to work. You might have a family member who's sick. But even in just a regular semester, again, I know you guys have obligations, work, school outside of here. We also have relationship obligations too, whether it's your family, partners, friends, whatever it is. People get married, people have babies. There's just all sorts of stuff going on. So I know that life gets in the way. But just know that this class it's important. It's 16 weeks long. You can do anything for 16 weeks. And if you can't, that's okay too. Come back when you can, right? Or take it again. That's right. The reality of it is sometimes that's just how it works out for people. Does it mean that your architecture career path is over? No, it's just going to take a little bit of a detour. So for this next 16 weeks, it's so important to me that you guys have a really good experience. This class absolutely reflects well in your portfolio that's going up to the University of Utah. And again, that's the majority of you. And so early on, we will start talking about, just the requirements for the portfolio going up there, graphic expectations, craft expectations, those types of things. And we will build on getting your work ready for your portfolio pretty much from our first project until the end of the semester. And we were talking about summer workshop, and Kevin said that he is offering it, but it isn't full. But here's the other thing, he's coordinating with the U. He doesn't think that the U is going to accept summer grades. So that was the thing. He's like, even if we run it, the U might not look at your transcripts and say, oh, they took this class in summer, that's okay. So that's the other looming question. So just let you guys know, the class sounds like it's good to go. It's just a matter of hearing from the U. Allie, have you heard otherwise?
No, I'm just curious as to why they wouldn't take it.
I have no idea. They change everything and we nod and smile. Just kidding. I have no idea. I will.
That is so weird.
So what I'm going to try to do is what we're going to do is get their undergraduate advice, like their head of undergraduate studies. Her name is Erin. She's new in her position. And we had actually asked her over winter break to come and speak to our students in February. And now February seems really far away, but it's January 19th, so it'll be sooner than later. But just know that during our class, there will be a Zoom with their undergraduate advisor. So we'll get a lot of those things cleared up. And we have portfolio examples to show you guys as well when the time comes. And so that was one of my other questions that I talked about, was just if you feel like you have questions about the program, do you have someone to ask? And I'm so happy that all of you guys answered that yes. I don't want anybody, it's a long, scary road. And so I'm glad you guys feel like you have somebody to ask and get clarification on those things. So that's coming as well. And then the last question that I asked that I just wanted to go over real quick is, when sharing work in class, what do you most often feel? And it was a tie between intimidated and excited. And I think that's the perfect mix of emotion. Like all of the other emotions were there. I'm so glad to see that most of you guys put that you are confident. Not most, some of you guys at least put that you are confident. Many of you put that you were nervous. Only some of you said that you felt unprepared. Not enough of you said that you felt proud. And then some of you said that you felt happy. So for now, I will take excited. Intimidated is okay. And we will work on the confident and proud part, because you guys, even at this point, you guys should feel confident and proud. I'm sure you've already had a moment of people saying, oh, you're studying architecture. It just kind of feels cool. Have you guys had that moment yet where people are like, oh, you're studying architecture? Brayden, not yet. Where people are like, oh, you're studying architecture? Anyway, I digress. But so thank you guys for sharing all of those things for me. What I want you guys to do when we go to one of our first breakouts here in just a minute, I want you guys to list 3 challenges that you might have this semester. It could be things that you just already know about yourself, okay? And then I want you to write 3 things that you can do to help yourself overcome those things, okay? And you're not sharing those with me or anybody else, but why don't you guys take, 2 or 3 minutes, write 3 challenges that might come up, and then 3 ways that you are going to overcome them. And I will refer to those later in the semester, so that if something's coming up, I will find you. If you stop coming to class and stop participating, I will find you, and I'll just ask if everything's okay. And I might just ask you to refer to that list. Like, take a look at that list. What's going on? I just found the share results button. Do you guys see it now? Yay, Naima. Okay, all right, keep writing. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and hop back on. If you guys want to continue writing, please do. You can also do it after class as well. And then one other thing I wanted to mention that I didn't before is that I had you guys write those things, how to overcome it. If you could also just make a note of how I could help you, right? You can either let me know, or in the future when you need that help, let me know. But that's why I'm here. I'm not just here to talk all day, but I am truly here to help you. So if there's a way that you know that I can help you, let me know either now or later. So anything else that you guys wanted to share before we move on from that? No? Okay, all right. We're gonna move on for now, and then we'll do one more little intro at the end. That was more of like sharing, not necessarily intro time. But now I'm going to get back into one of our assignments, and I mentioned I just wanted to go over some classroom expectations as well. So one thing about architecture that can be a little bit tricky is that it's pretty literal at times. Like, despite design not being literal and being kind of really open, there are things that are just very black and white about architecture. And part of those things are kind of just expectations and outlines. So as architects, if you look at kind of like the definition of architecture, you may have learned this in your intro class, but there's the American Institute of Architects, and they essentially oversee everything about architecture. Legislatively, they control the licensing exams, definitions, and their definition is to protect the health, safety, and welfare of the public. And so because of that, there are many things that we have to conform to make sure everybody's safe. And again, you can't be wishy-washy on that. You have to be very exact. You may not. You can go downstairs and play. Not yet. Almost done. Go downstairs because it's not time. Bye. So kind of along those lines too, there's going to be some guidelines in our class. So I mentioned I am absolutely flexible, but there will be times where it's kind of like, you really do have to do this. And so I noticed that on our discussion assignment, it had been reopened and then some things were missed. And so I just wanted to make sure that from kind of here forward, we're all on the same page as far as like what's due and when. Okay, sorry about that. Everything is fine. So when we are in discussions, I'm in student view right now. So when I scroll down to the very, very bottom, there's not a rubric here like usual, like a typical assignment would be. Do any of you guys know where you could go to find a rubric for this assignment by chance?
For which assignment?
Oh, am I sharing my screen or not yet? No,
No.
I'm so sorry. I'm in student view, and so it has like a ring around it as if I was sharing. Okay, there you go. Now I've got a double share. So on this assignment right here, let me scroll back down again. So typically at the bottom of assignment, you can see a rubric, right? Or maybe like right before you go to turn it in, which would be somewhere right here. Okay. So on this particular assignment, would you guys know where to go to find the rubric? Emily, was that a yes from you? Where would I go to see the rubric?
Isn't it you click on the button in the top right hand corner? There's an option for it.
Yeah, so these three dots right here, you click on that and then you can go to show rubric. And so I'm assuming that many of you guys maybe didn't see the rubric. And so I wanted to point out a couple of things and kind of give people a chance to do this one more time. So we had our boards that you guys were putting in. So not necessarily boards, sorry, just your sketches. We had embedded images and not links. And then the other thing was just participation. Like, did you comment on your peers' work? And some of this we probably discovered or we discussed in class on Zoom. And so you may not have heard it. So I will make sure to clarify. But even here, I just want to let you guys know, I did put another note of, you know, what your definitions and diagrams were to look like. And then I put, to get credit for this assignment, you must have all of your definitions embedded as a PDF and have a discussion with 2 others. And remember, a discussion is like kind of like a question answer. Like if somebody leaves you a comment, say something back, and not just like, I like it, but I like it because this is working, because this is not working. And so there's going to be several assignments over the semester. They're kind of like low stakes, complete or incomplete. And this is one of those. So as I looked through, if I saw your definitions, but you didn't have discussion, you didn't get credit for it. Or if I saw that you had your definitions, but they weren't embedded as a PDF, then you didn't get credit. And so if you just put 1 comment, it wasn't 2 others. And so we got off to kind of a rough start. I think like some people got the whole assignment. It was great. But I think that overall as a majority, I think we could do a little bit better. So I would say that rather than, let me ask you guys, would you guys like a chance to redo this assignment until Monday? Seeing a couple nods, yeah, okay. So I'm gonna open it up one more time. So it's already been open once, we're gonna open it up one more time. Please take a look at the rubric. And then again, this is a complete incomplete. Now, as a student, let me try, and I might even just have to show you, because here, I don't think it's clear that it's a complete incomplete assignment. It's kind of like an all or nothing. So I will make sure to put in the rubric, or at least the assignment definition, that it's a complete incomplete. Okay, so remember, for this particular assignment, it's a complete incomplete. So it's all or nothing. So should your definitions be linked or embedded? Embedded. Thank you, Sophia. That was perfect. I could totally read that. Okay, they should be embedded. And what that means is when you look at, let me add a comment. Oh, I have to go all the way down to the bottom. Oh, it's closed, so I can't. I'm a student. Let me leave student view to see if I can add a comment, because if you don't know, you don't know. So here's a reply. So in your links, please don't use this link button because it just attaches it like a file, so we can't use your work. But I think that for you guys to do it correctly, you have to upload a document. And then once you've uploaded the document, there's one other little thing you can do. Let me try to find a PDF. I have so many PDFs. There you go. So you upload your PDF. And then once you do that, there's one more step. There's link options. And then what you're going to do is you're going to do preview inline. So that means it's going to actually give you a preview. And then when I hit done, and then post, let me refresh. Oh my gosh, let me do that. I might have to do that one more time because I think I was showing you the wrong button by example. So this is what you guys could do too. You could go to edit once you see it doesn't work. And I'm gonna do upload document. Can you guys hear them cutting the trees down outside? Good. Okay. I'm gonna do that one more time. And if you guys see me doing it wrong, oh, expand preview by default. Thank you. Sophia, you're the best. You can also unmute too. You can yell at me and be like, girl, I get nervous in front of a crowd too, guys, believe it or not. Like I get nervous talking to you guys. So that's what I want to see. So in all of our discussions, this will be the common way to upload things. That way people don't have to click on it and download it in order to give you feedback. They can do a quick scroll. So on that note, I'm going to have you guys, I'm going to open this up one more time until Monday. So that will give everybody a chance to either upload the assignment or do the comments. So again, make it a conversation. And in fact, I'll go ahead and just do that right now. And remember, it's a complete incomplete. So I can't say it enough. It's kind of like an all or nothing. So we're actually going to have this be open until Monday, and we'll do that right before class. Okay. There's also a few of you guys that weren't here for the in-class discussion on Wednesday. And so for Wednesday, I essentially just gave everybody credit on well, before Canvas crashed, I was giving everybody credit as we were working. So if you weren't in class on Wednesday and you want opportunity to redo that assignment, send me a message on Canvas and let me know. Or what you can do is just watch the Zoom link that I posted in our announcements. So this is the Zoom link from that day. And you can fast forward to when we're actually doing all of the work. And then what I would probably have you do is essentially just send me images on Canvas of you doing the exercise. Okay, so if you weren't here on Monday, you still have that option. I don't think you can submit it on the assignment. So either send it to me on Canvas or let me know on Canvas that you want it opened so that you can upload it. Okay, let's do it that way. So let me know on Canvas that you want to submit so I can open it for you.
Well, it would be easier for you just to send you images through the Canvas inbox or on the assignment?
I think on the assignment, so that way I get like a little notification that I need to grade it so it doesn't get lost in my inbox. Is that okay? So we'll do it officially. And in fact, if you guys want to hang out after the call, hang out after the call and I'll open it up before we sign off today. Okay. All right.
I have a question for those of us that were there.
Yeah.
We had talked about finishing that. Is that the thing that's due next week?
That
Like
is
finishing all the steps.
Yeah. So what we're going to do, so not even the assignment got posted. So I did that little sketch for you guys and I posted, there was like nothing. And so what I did, I redid the assignment. And so what we're going to do today is essentially build off of what we were talking about on Wednesday. So if you went through and were able to finish, let me know. But the majority of you didn't have the instructions on how to keep. I know that some of you guys took screenshots as I had it up, but I think most of you guys didn't do that. And so as soon as I noticed it, I made this new assignment that we all could start together in class. And then we will present this a week from today.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So everybody with me so far? Yeah, so today it's just a whole new assignment that we're starting together. Okay. All right. So with that, there's two things that we need to talk about. Brayden, go ahead.
Yeah, I wanted to ask, because I really wanted to cut my papers. I know in the original, when we talked about it, not to cut the papers. I don't know if that's still not
No,
allowed.
you can cut the paper now. Yes,
We
you'll
can?
be able to cut. Yeah, there's going to be a couple things that we add. So yeah, there's a few more questions. So let's see. Go ahead.
So what
Jared,
if we
right?
already
Took me a minute.
Jared,
Jared? Okay.
Jared, yeah. So say we already completed it, we went through and folded each one and all that. And
Yeah.
I also put it on like a Photoshop file with our
Nice.
sketches, all that. So what do we do if we did all that?
So
already?
I would say with that one, hang on to it for just a minute. I do appreciate you doing that work. Let me see a quick thumbs up real quick, because I didn't think that people would even have stuff to share without the discussion. Will you guys give me a thumbs up if you did have your board ready for today? No shame if you didn't.
I didn't put definitions or sketches, but I did the projects.
Okay, that's great. So we'll share those, and I'll mark through who did have those, and I'll probably just post it up as an extra credit assignment. But I was using that assignment as kind of like a practice for compositions part 1. So that was kind of like an exploration intro done with paper. And so let me mark. The thing that sucks is it doesn't save drafts, so it's just gone. And I will actually put up an assignment for you guys to turn those into, so to turn in. And so for the few of you guys that weren't here on Wednesday, you'll eventually be turning in 2 things. So you'll be doing kind of like the in-class check that we had, and then I'll make sure to post the part 2 as well that you'll also hear in our Zoom call towards the end. Okay. So Jaren, I'll make sure to post that part 2 as well for your boards. Okay. And then was there one more question? I'm so embarrassed. Your name isn't Emily, has a headboard behind her, and you're not Natalie. I don't remember your name. Here, I just asked to unmute you. I'm sorry, I don't see your name, so I can't cheat. Tell me your name
Naomi,
again.
you're all good.
Naomi, there we go. I should know that because everybody calls me Naomi. You're my name twin. What were you gonna ask? Sorry.
Yeah, so basically I did it too, and I thought you said to put it into a PDF. So but I didn't know what to write for the like the description.
Sure. So what we were looking for that one, the description was just which composition or organizing system that you used. So when we were talking in our discussion, some people said volume, and then we said plain. And so it was just kind of your description would be what you think your work is showing.
Okay, because towards the end, they're all starting to look very, very similar.
It happens.
How do you want me to describe this?
That's okay. And I think part of our discussions is to help us see what we can't see anymore, right? Or to help point out like, hey man, you think that that's a volume, but it's really, really like a central point, right? So part of this is, and it could actually be showing volume, but it's showing something else stronger, right? And so we have to decide, is it more important for us to show volume and kind of redo our work to show and embrace volume? Or is it okay to embrace this other thing that it's being a little bit stronger? Do you guys see the difference between the two? And that kind of goes with like those design parameters as well. So I was just talking about, as architects, you're held to the standard. So one of them is when we're talking about due dates, a lot of times you will have proposals and they will say, your first example will be your portfolio. It has to be exactly 10 pages. They tell you the font, how to turn it in, and you just turn it in exactly like that, right? And so some things, again, are very literal. So if there's a client that asks, you know, this has to have a red balloon, it's not really up to interpretation what a red balloon is. But if a client says, I want to make sure that you show this volume of a space that shows that the whole community can come together, right? It just kind of have to make sure that that client sees what that means. Red balloon, way easier than volume for the community, right? So we'll have fun with it over this semester. So on those lines, we're going to totally build off of the exercise that we did last week. And again, the exercise last week was meant to be really low stakes, just work, rework, work, rework. So all of that, like, oh, I have to make this perfect. Set that aside, because I think all of us had really successful models last week. I was actually really impressed. So let's build off of that. And really the only difference is that now I want you guys to focus on one or several elements, but not from the same column. So what I mean is when I ask you to describe what your project is, it shouldn't be a point and a volume. Do you see that they're in the same column? Okay, so your project should either be a line and just a line, or maybe it's a clustered line through additive techniques, right? So you can combine, you can have one, or you can start combining the different columns. But again, don't do a voluminous plane that's a grid cluster extended compressed. Does that make sense? So don't get greedy, just pick one thing or one thing from each column, right? And the approach to it is, what do you want to do first? Maybe you say, okay, line, how do I make a line? And then you look into making a line. Or maybe you just take your hands and you start creating and you're like, oh, I think I just created this. Both ways work. And what we essentially want from a week from today is, here is hopefully a better sketch from what I was trying to do quickly in class that day, is today, while we're in the next hour, we're going to start with our first 4 models, okay? And from those first models, you're going to make 4. And when you do, I want you to do just a quick chicken scratch sketch and a quick blurb on what it is. Point, line, volume, is it any of these other things, right? So those are your 4. And then after those 4, the second thing you're going to do is you're going to pick 2 to continue to develop. From those 2, you do 2 more iterations. Now, those iterations is 2 more at least. Like, you could do way more than that, but I want to see at least 2. And some of them, like especially by the time you get to step 5, they might not look that different from each other. You might be playing with scale, you might be playing with material, you might be playing with technique, but they might not look quite that different from each other. But sometimes, especially at the beginning, they could look completely different because you just had the spark of an idea and that led you somewhere else. But by the time you get to step 5, you're just going to pick 1 and you're going to do 4 more of those. So this is even more like, it could just be really subtle changes. And then of those 4, you're not going to make 1 more, but you're going to pick your favorite. Okay. Does this diagram help everybody? Kind of going through it step by step? Okay, good. Yeah, so your last thing will be to pick a favorite. And during that, it's going to feel weird, but we're going to essentially be on our own for a bit. But on Monday, we're going to come through and just show where we are with the process so that you can show us your models and let us know, where you are. And we're going to kind of tell you if we agree with you, like if you got like the point, or no pun intended, if you got the point or not of what you thought you had. So for this, I'm going to link it to a discussion so that you guys can post all of your work in that discussion. Okay, and we're starting it today in class. And then we'll have a discussion on it on Monday and we'll continue working on it. And then a week from today at the beginning of class, that's when I want essentially your boards to be done. So it will be helpful to have, you know, at least up until step 4 or 5 done. And maybe you finish the whole thing by Monday, and that would be great because then you're just working on the board from Monday to Wednesday. Does that make sense? Kind of. Go ahead, Jared.
It says on the due date, it's due Monday. So the board
Monday
is not due Monday?
Yeah, so on Monday, so the first due date on Monday is just kind of like your check-in, right? And then on Monday, I'm going to extend it until Wednesday. And in fact, I can do that right now if it's not already open until Wednesday. So I'm going to keep this open until Wednesday, just so you know. And then really the thing that will be due on, so Monday will be the discussion. And then on Wednesday, sorry, that doesn't make sense. So on Monday, it will be like the in-class discussion where you share your work with us, you share your rough sketches. And then a week from today is when it will be the formal discussion post where you will have your boards posted. Does that make sense? So kind of a 2-step process. Now, I'm not putting any, like, you have to get up to this step or this step by Monday. That's kind of up to you. But I do, if it was just like a little secret between us, you would at least get to, I would hope, like step 4, go through a couple rounds of those iterations. Okay. I think the trickiest thing as we get started is really just coming to a common understanding of what a point, line, plane, and volume is. Sometimes that's the hardest thing. Sometimes we see those things a little bit differently. So do take that time to go through the discussion, look at other people's images. I also referred to this a book. I think some people may have gotten it already, but I think this is helpful. So just, I think it helps for all of us to have like a common understanding of what those definitions are. And truly, these first 2 exercises help us get to that common ground. Okay, so this is part 1 of 3 more parts of this assignment. So just to let you guys know, we started in paper, we're getting a little bit thicker, and then eventually we're even going to start casting these models. And I'll start showing you guys examples of where this is going. And then from those cast models, we go into 3D renderings of them. So that's kind of the future of this class in a nutshell. So with this next round, Braden, you kind of got me thinking about it. What can you do? So last week it was just paper. It was 4 by 4 because that's how many we got out of a piece of paper. So for this assignment, I want you guys to stay between 3 and 6 inches square. So don't go bigger than 6 inches. And again, it's one of those parameters where I'm gonna like hold you to it. It's kind of like one of those all or nothings, because if somebody else goes 8 by 8 or 10 by 10, it changes the parameters and the level playing field for everyone else. Braden, was that a question from you?
Yeah, you mean, just to clarify, you don't mean 6 square inches, but rather.
If I had like a 6 inch by 6 inch square box, I could be able to pop it in there and put a lid on it, right? So keep it within those parameters for now. So minimum 3 by 3, max 6 by 6. And I'll make sure to add those in here because this class, since we're hybrid, I say some stuff online, but I need to make sure to get it into the assignment. So 3 by 3 or 6 by 6. And for now, I do want you guys to stick with like Bristol and paper. But if you feel like you're ready by like the first or second round to look into foam core, you can start looking at other materials too. The only thing that I ask is they all stay white or neutral. Okay, I'll help you in just a minute, okay? I'll get you into Lexi in just a minute. And then, yeah, the other thing that I really ask is as you build each one of these, ask it what it is, you know? And on Monday, come with questions like, does it really look like this? Or does it look more like this? If it's 2 things, ask yourself, what can you do to push it more towards the other thing? And one of the first things that I wrote up here was just to create, rework, modify, create, rework. This is one of those instances where look at it like a meditation. Don't think about it, just start folding stuff, start cutting stuff. There really is no right or wrong yet. We're just trying to figure out what all of these things mean right now. So the only way to get this wrong is if you don't work, okay? Even if you put like a crumpled piece of paper up there and you call it a point, I'll be like, yes, you did it. That was a point. Hooray, right? Like anybody can do that. So get out of your head, have fun with it. And our first discussion for this will be on Monday. You can cut. I prefer that you don't glue or tape yet. If you glue, I better not see it, okay? Usually I don't even let glue come in until like the first or second round, but if you're that curious, like if you're desperate for something to stay, make sure you use a white glue and that I won't be able to see it. Fair enough? Okay. I'm sorry, I did the majority of the talking again today. Let me hop into the chat. Oh, Sophia has a PDF of our book. Will you send it to me and I'll share it with the class? Sophia, where did you get it? Are we going to be arrested? Let me pause the Zoom. Tell me where you found it. Oh, is your speaker still not working, your mic? Okay. All right. She's going to let us know. Oh, and then Natalie, sorry, you will be able to work from home after this. So I'm just going to turn you guys loose. And then I'm happy to stay on, give feedback for like the next hour or so, but really I'm planning on seeing you guys Monday and we'll share our models there in smaller groups. Okay, so Matt Green found it in workshop 1. Cool. I will ask Matt if we're gonna get arrested. Just kidding, I'm so glad he found it. Do you mind sending it to me on Canvas and then I'll share it with the rest of you? Cool. Yeah, watch out for that link as well. So with that, stay on if you guys have any questions. If you want me to reopen the assignment for you, I'm going to do that first. And then I'm going to go through before we hang up and also give everybody who was on the call last week their credit for being prepared and just being there. Okay. All right. Thanks, Allie. Have a good day. Have fun at the Hobby Lobby. See you, Natalie. I think that was fine.
I will definitely try. Thank you.
Okay, see ya. Oh, thank you. I love jelly beans. I'll take a jelly bean. Okay. All right, so are any of you guys hanging out to get credit for the discussion? Let me go back. Nope, not this one. I'm so sorry. It was. Okay. Ricardo, do you go by Ricardo? Okay, great. Nice to meet you. Okay. So it's part 0 exploration, right? Is that the one you guys are looking for? Okay. So let me edit this real quick. And in fact, let me just, I'm gonna just do it like the lazy cheating way. I'm just gonna open it up to everybody until the 24th. That way I don't have to add everybody individually and I'll just do it right before class. Does that work? Okay, so now if you guys refresh that, you should be able to see it. Okay, and then, okay, so that part is done. I need the P2 discussion. And then I also need, okay. All right, does anybody need any Canvas support while I'm here? I'm gonna stop sharing. So if it's something that people don't want to see, I don't have to turn it on.
Just had a question. It says on our upcoming assignments, there's things like the Adobe Creative Suite download and all of those.
Yeah.
I was just wondering about those for the material prep.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not able to go to the store because my wife and I are quarantining.
Oh, Jaren, I'm so sorry.
I know it's been horrible, but
I'm like, I think everybody has it now.
I
I
know.
don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I'm like, yeah, I think everybody just has it. So I'm so sad. So yeah, if you are quarantined, don't get your materials yet. While I have you here, so you should be able to still download the PDF editor. I think I've graded most of those. I went through most of those last night. So Jaren, if you can, go ahead and download that for me. But is that something that you'll be able to do? I think it's
Yeah.
open until midnight tonight.
Is that just on Creative Cloud?
Yeah, it is. So if you already have Creative Cloud, you should just be able to get both of those as well.
Okay, yeah, I'll just download it. Right now.
But was it the materials that you were concerned about?
Yeah, I just can't
Okay,
go out.
let
and
me
get them.
open that up. So for now, let me just excuse you from it, only because it's one of those assignments that let me find it real quick. I mean, I'm gonna know whether or not you had it. Let me grab those real quick. So it's just the longer assignment. Okay, let me find you, Jaren. Okay, so you'll see that one is excused, but I'd say still hop on the Adobe stuff.
Okay, cool.
Cool.
Thanks.
All right, anything else?
That's all for me. Thank you.
Okay, cool. Have a good, I hope you're spared. Is it a mild case at least?
I got the worst of it like 2 days ago.
Mm,
It was really bad, but yeah, it's no fun. My wife tested positive, and then I got a fever the next day. So I was like, I'm positive for sure.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Well, take care. And if you need anything else, like I said, I have turned into a total hippie. I'm like, just go with the flow, man. So if you
Yeah.
need anything else, let me know. Like if you
Will do.
don't have the energy or whatever, I'll get
Sounds
it.
good.
Yep.
Thank you.
Hey, take care. I wish you both well. See ya.
Thank you.
All right, so Ethan, I think you also needed that assignment opened, so you should see it open now. And then everybody will see the part 2 board that I will re-explain in the assignment, but it is in the it's in the cloud as well, if you want to take a look at what we're going over. Anything else? Ethan?
I was just looking really quick
Sure.
at all the things. Well, at first it took me a second because under the modules, the Adobe PDF assignment isn't under there, but it's on assignment. So
Oh,
glad I
let me
looked
move
at
that
this
up.
one.
So I updated it this semester. Let me find it. And I can add it to there. Sorry, it's not under the first module, but you found it somewhere else. Is that right?
I just saw it only on the assignments
Oh,
portion.
got it. Okay, I will add that right now. Thanks for letting me know. Maybe. Ethan, if you're looking at it right now, does it have a P1 before it?
It does. Oh, at the PDF one?
Yeah, or just, sorry, that.
No, that one does not. That one has a 00 in front of it.
Oh, okay. So it should be easy to find. Naima. Oh, there it is. Oh, wow. Okay, yeah, I had it like way in the wrong spot. Okay, let's go ahead and move that up. Okay, that is there. Thanks for letting me know. I need to look in studio, or it's not studio, student view more often so I can see how you guys are seeing things. And to be honest, I don't know if that would help me. I might be hopeless because I see this class all the time and I forget what semester I'm in. Okay, anything else?
I think if the other two are open, I think I'm good then.
Okay, great. Sounds good. So
Okay, thank you
yeah, sorry you're on campus today, but we'll see you on Zoom next week.
for sure. Okay, for sure.
Nice to meet you
you.
officially. See ya.
Yep. Bye.
Bye. Okay, let's see. Sophia, let me check to see if I got it. Yep, I got it. Thank you. I'll share it with everybody. Okay. Naomi, you good?
Yeah, so I did the whole last thing of models, and this
Yay.
like in the middle, I feel like I peaked like in the middle of the project. Like the middle ones were flawless.
Oh, that's so funny.
I don't know if it was that I came back to it. I came back to it last night. And I was
Yeah.
like, oh my gosh, I need to get this done. And so I don't know if I came back to it with like weird energy or something, but they just did not look as good. And I know that I've had problems in the past, like with in design class,
Yeah.
like all throughout Shelly's class, I would create something and I'd be happy with it. And then I wouldn't have like a design concept. And it would just kind of like
Okay.
deteriorate. And so I was kind of like just wondering how I'm supposed to.
We'll go on the ride together. It's tricky. I totally empathize with where you're coming from, because I too would, in design, it was a really similar experience where it was like, this is what I made. Now what? It was hard for me to like go beyond that. But I think one example that has always helped me kind of like know how to get past that is, in the future, we'll always be designing for a client, right? Like it's going to be rare that we're just like making stuff for the sake of making stuff. So enjoy it while you can. But when you're making things for a client, they will say, I want a square, make me a square. And you will do that. You will give them exactly what they want. And more often than not, they'll be like, oh, okay, that's a square. Okay, now change it to a rectangle. And you're like, wait, you wanted a square. I just gave you a square. Like I thought I'd be done, right? And so part of it isn't necessarily just that you arrived at a concept and it was great, but it's about showing the flexibility of being able to develop it and look at it in a different way, just because that usually ends up what design is all about. Whether, and we're skipping ahead to a lecture that I have like 2 weeks from now, but you're getting the behind the scenes.
Inside scoop.
It's really common. So again, whether it's client changes, it could be the budget. It's almost always the budget. It could all of a sudden be like, there was this code that we didn't know about, and now we have to adhere to that code. And so a lot of times you will make something that you kind of like love, that is precious, that feels good. But you have to be flexible to be like, okay, I loved you, but we have to move on to this new thing, whatever that is. And so there's a couple different ways of kind of like working through it and feeling it. And part of it is not necessarily detaching from the first one, but being able to objectively see the changes as necessary. Like, okay, you were good, but these changes are necessary. So on that note, I hope that that starts to answer your question. But for each thing, it will be kind of a ride. And at the end of the day, I really want to make sure that your work is your work and not something that I've kind of like conditioned you or molded you to like and love. So on that note, on Monday, when we take a look at your beginning designs, even though we have those rounds of models, it doesn't mean that older models don't sneak back through. Right? Like sometimes you take a step forward and then the next step might even be going back. Right?
Yeah.
So, and that's totally okay. You will also have that client too. You'll give them what they want, they change it, and like, oh, we can't afford it, let's go back to this. So it's really all part of the process. So trust it. We'll kind of see how it goes, but I absolutely think that you, I wouldn't look at it as like you peaked, because that means you're not getting better. You're always getting better, right? It's like you
Okay.
have a favorite and that's okay. It's like you can have a bestie and then still have other friends, right? Like it's not this exclusive relationship. So yeah.
Gotcha. All right.
Help?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right. So
Possibility.
enjoy it. You're very young. You're not peaking anytime soon.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, have a great day. See ya.
All right, see you
Bye.
Monday. Bye-bye.
Ari.
Mom.
Yeah.
I got something that